welcome. We are so glad you're joining us for this deep dive today.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
I want you to start by picturing a scenario for a second. Just imagine you're standing in a massive, packed stadium.
Right.
The energy is absolutely electric. The crowd is roaring, and suddenly a high-energy, fiery sports anthem starts blasting through the speakers.
Oh, we all know that feeling.
Exactly.
Shit.
It's the kind of heavy bass-thumping track that shakes the concrete bleachers and gets 80,000 people moving on pure instinct.
Yeah, pure adrenaline.
Right, and if you're just standing there, soaking in the atmosphere, it feels like just another hype track. I mean, it's a beat specifically designed to get your adrenaline pumping before a big play.
Definitely.
But what if the foundation of that specific stadium-shaking beat wasn't just engineered in a studio by a producer looking for a quick hit?
Right, what if there's more to it?
Yeah. What if it was actually built on a 50-year-old family legacy?
Wow.
A legacy deeply rooted in civil rights protests, deep faith, and profound personal loss.
See, it completely shifts how you hear the music. When you realize that a modern pop culture artifact, something designed for immediate visceral impact, is actually carrying half a century of historical weight, it just forces you to stop and listen differently.
It really does.
It proves that the everyday things we consume for entertainment often have incredibly deep, complex roots that we just walk right past.
And that is exactly what we're looking at on the desk today. We have a really fascinating stack of sources to go through with you.
Yes, we do.
First, we have a biographical article titled Stay Hot, The Banks Family Legacy at UF. And alongside that, we have some striking promotional artwork for a new musical release.
What we really want to figure out today is how an original track called Stay Hot serves as a bridge.
Right.
We are exploring how it connects the history of a quiet, rural Florida family to the massive, loud, stadium-shaking culture of the Gator Nation.
Yeah, it's a huge contrast.
It is. By looking at both the music's modern presentation and its historical resilience, we get a much richer understanding of what this song actually represents.
I promise you, there is a massive aha moment coming.
Oh, for sure.
It is so incredibly cool to see how history and modern pop culture collide in such a literal way. Let's just dive right into the visuals and the vibe, because the artwork provided in our sources really sets the scene.
It really jumps out at you.
It does. If you were scrolling through your phone and saw this, it would immediately grab your attention. It is visually loud.
Very loud.
The words Gator Boys are written out in this cracked, fiery stone across the top, looking almost like molten lava breaking through the earth.
Yeah.
And right below that, staring straight at you, is this fierce alligator.
Yeah.
It has these piercing, glowing yellow-orange eyes, and the entire thing is just engulfed in bright, roaring flames.
Makes sense.
At the bottom, the words Stay Hot are written out in a sharp, fiery script.
The promotional graphic we have also highlights the modern distribution of this track. And it is entirely built for the modern internet era.
How so?
Well, it clearly states new release and now available to stream, featuring the logos for Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube. But it also prominently features the DistroKid logo, which tells us a lot about the artist's approach.
Right.
For those unfamiliar, DistroKid is a service that allows independent DIY artists to bypass major record labels entirely and upload their music directly to streaming platforms.
So it's not some massive label push.
Exactly. This isn't a corporate rollout. It is an independent grind. But because of that platform, it is sitting on streaming playlists right alongside massive mainstream pop releases.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Right.
Because this is where the contrast really hits.
Yeah.
If you just look at these visuals, they scream modern sports hype, they're aggressive, they're loud, they look like they were born on the internet yesterday to go viral on a highlight reel.
Oh, absolutely.
But when we pivot to the text source, we find out that the origin of this fiery, aggressive image doesn't start in a modern recording studio or a digital marketing firm.
Right.
It actually begins decades ago in a very quiet rural stretch of North Florida called Monteocha.
That juxtaposition is striking.
It really is.
The biographical article describes Monteocha as a place where perseverance is inherited and history is personal.
Wow.
It's the kind of small, rural community where legacies are passed down at the dinner table generation by generation. Visually and culturally, a quiet rural town is about as far away as you can get from a blazing, neon-lit digital album cover.
Yeah, worlds apart.
But that geographical origin is the absolute key to understanding everything that follows.
So who is the person actually bridging that gap? The creator of this track is Jonathan Banks, who goes by the producer name Frothy Main.
Frothy Main.
Yeah. He wrote, produced, and performed Stay Hot completely on his own. He grew up in Monteocha, and he carries that inherited perseverance with him. But I know the Banks family name carries a lot of weight at the University of Florida.
It does.
Where does that legacy actually start?
It goes back to 1971 with his mother, Susie Walton Banks. The article details her involvement in what was known as Black Thursday.
Okay.
To give you the context straight from our source, Black Thursday was a pivotal 1971 protest that forced the University of Florida to confront its treatment of Black students.
Right.
The article outlines how this event was a breaking point that forced the institution to begin reshaping its entire identity. Susie Walton Banks was right there on the steps of Taggart Hall.
Oh.
She placed herself in the center of a moment of profound historical friction to demand necessary change, making her presence impossible to ignore.
You read about that kind of public courage, and it is just staggering.
Truly.
But the article also talks about his father, right?
Yeah.
The late Reverend Dr. John Banks.
Yes. That is another crucial pillar of this family's history. Reverend Dr. John Banks earned his degree from UF, but his impact was deeply rooted in how he served his community through ministry.
Oh, that makes sense.
The biographical article notes that he embodied the belief that education and service have to move together. They aren't separate tracks. You have the mother representing public, courageous protest on the steps of a university building, and the father representing steadfast community service and faith.
And the academic lineage didn't stop there.
No, it didn't.
The source also mentions Jonathan's sister, the late Teresa Banks. She also completed her degree at UF, proving that brilliance and resilience were simply inherited traits in the Banks household.
And this raises an important question.
Or that.
How does a young man carry the weight of all that history? When you look at the timeline in the article, Jonathan Banks is graduating this May, in the year 2026.
Right.
Both his father and his sister have passed away.
Wait, so he is the last one left in his family to walk that stage.
Yeah.
The absolute pressure he must have felt walking onto that campus on day one.
What's fascinating here is how all of those historical and emotional threads pull tight in this one specific moment in time.
Yeah.
When you absorb the full context of the source material, you realize this isn't just a standard college graduation. It is the culmination of an incredible generational arc.
An arc that started decades ago.
Exactly. It's an arc that had to survive segregation-era barriers in the 1970s, profound and devastating personal loss, and this immense unspoken pressure to succeed.
Growing up in Monteocha, Jonathan learned early on that his family simply did not fold.
Right.
They pushed, they endured, and they finished. And as he approached the end of his own journey at UF, standing as the final representative of this family line to walk that stage, he felt compelled to contribute something permanent.
He wanted to create something that honored the very people who built the path he was now walking on.
Yes.
But he didn't write a somber acoustic ballad to reflect on the past.
Far from it.
He wrote a clean, high-energy, stadium-ready record.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because translating a 1971 civil rights protest and decades of family struggle into a modern hype track seems impossible.
It does sound like a contradiction.
How did he actually do that? Well, it all comes down to the title and the mantra of the song itself, Stay Hot. According to the article, this is a very familiar Florida mantra that completely surged through Gainesville during the 2006 championship era.
The 2006 era in Gainesville was electric.
Oh, yeah.
The source describes Stay Hot not just as a passing catchphrase, but as a mentality that permeated the town. It means to stay sharp, to stay relentless, and to stay unbreakable regardless of the pressure you are under. Jonathan took that championship swagger and wove it into his family's story.
Let's talk about what the song actually sounds like, because his production choices are incredibly deliberate.
Very deliberate.
If you listen to the instrumentation described in the breakdown, he built this track around these massive, heavy bass lines that intentionally mirror the sound of a marching band's tuba section.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we can see that this track is an incredibly intentional synthesis.
Yeah.
He layered those heavy brass elements with the kind of sharp, rhythmic snare hits you would hear from a stadium drumline.
It's brilliant.
It is. On the surface, as we saw with the DistroKid release and the fiery Spotify artwork, it's engineered for game day crowds. It's built for those massive moments when 80,000 people need to feel the exact same pulse.
But at its core, beneath the 808s and the brass, It is a modern expression of the exact same resilience that his mother, Susie, carried onto the steps of Tigard Hall back in 1971.
Exactly.
It is the same fire, just taking a different form for a different era.
The source material refers to it as a generational torch.
I love that phrase.
It perfectly captures it. The fire of that 1971 protest was passed to the 2006 championship mantra, and now it is being carried to the graduation stage in 2026. Jonathan Banks is extending his family's fire into a brand new chapter through his production.
I think my favorite detail in all of these sources is Jonathan's ultimate goal for the song. He isn't trying to use DistroKid to get signed to a massive label and become a millionaire pop star.
No, that's not his aim at all.
His hope is that the University of Florida Marching Band will one day perform Stay Hot on the field. And he wants this not for his own personal spotlight, but because the message of the song mirrors the culture that his family actively helped to build at that university.
It is a culture of resilience, of pride, and of pressure-tested strength.
Yes.
He wants the band to play it because it belongs to the community. His story resonates so far beyond just a student making a beat in his dorm room.
It really is.
It's about ensuring that a legacy of pushing through barriers does not fade quietly into the background. You take the weight of the past and you wrap it in the energy of the present.
Monteocha might be a small rural place, but as the article makes incredibly clear, the Banks legacy is massive.
Absolutely massive.
And Stay Hot ensures that the legacy is loud, proud, and impossible to ignore.
Oh.
So what does this all mean? Let's summarize the incredible journey we have taken in this deep dive. We started by looking at this aggressive, fiery, hypermodern album cover sitting on streaming platforms. It looked like just another piece of digital content meant to hype up a sports crowd.
Right.
But by digging into the sources, we uncovered a generational torch. We traced a line from the tense historic protests of 1971 through the thrilling championship days of 2006, landing right on the deeply personal graduation stage of 2026.
And this is exactly why this matters for you as you go about your day. It proves that what we consume daily, whether it is a catchy song popping up on a playlist, a chant echoing through a football game, or even just a piece of graphic design you scroll past on your phone, often contains incredibly deep, hidden layers of human endurance and history.
Yeah.
We are surrounded by legacies disguised as entertainment.
Next time you're in a crowd, roaring along to a massive stadium anthem, feeling that collective energy surge through you, ask yourself, what hidden multi-generational struggles might have actually built the beat you are cheering to? Thank you so much for exploring these sources alongside us today, and for taking this deep dive into the fire and the history behind Stay Hot. Keep that curiosity alive, and we'll catch you next time.
Gator Boys Stay Hot, we on it. Hey, Gator Boys Stay Hot, so hot, so hot. Gator Boys Stay Hot. Run that thing.